Did you know Kay Flock spoke out on Instagram Live after his trial ended? To understand his message, it's important to see this announcement. Kay Flock found not guilty of M charges, but guilty of 5 other charges, including possession and RICO. But with creative lawyer work, Flock's lawyer mentioned the 5 guilty charges do not faze him. The passing of Hernandez was the most worrying charge, and with him beating that charge, it will reflect on his release date. As reported, the prosecutors put in a letter saying, "It could be misunderstood the jury must determine whether the defendant, with his idiosyncrasies, believed the victim was about to use physical force." Because the judge wanted the jury to make their decision on Flock being a reasonable person. However, this report makes it seem like the jury took into account Flock's perspective and how he's grown up in the street life. Because of his unique mindset and fears, Flock truly believed Oscar was about to take him out. This made it easier to justify self-defense on the M charge, which had Flock speaking about it on Instagram.
Flock here, been a lot of talk about the trial. I just want to set the record straight though, make my first official statement about it. I want to give thanks to everybody who supported me and kept me in their prayers. I want to thank everyone who was involved in my trial, especially the judge who made sure I was treated with respect throughout the process. I have to thank my lawyer, Michael Ashley, no cap, for not giving up on me and putting up a fight, even though we still fighting because it ain't over till Allah says over. I want to thank every one of my fans and supporters. I love y'all, everything to the chin, nothing to the heart. And my spirits and faith is high as they ever been, and I pray everyone out there is at peace and feel positive too.
But the other 5 charges Flock is found guilty of are from his gang member snitching on him. With it announced, Kay Flock reportedly used a firearm against someone who used one against his friend in 2020. Today, that friend testified against him. The snitch's name is Brockington, otherwise known as Dougie, but not to be confused with Flock's best friend Dougie B, because the snitch Dougie was arrested for selling. Instead of doing his time, he took a plea deal and threw Flock under the rug for everything. But surprisingly, Flock was still in positive spirits while on the jail phone with rapper Top 5.
Talk to them, Flock. Talk to them, my dog. Soon come home, man. You got these little boys walking around with no jewels, Flock. They need you. They need you, Flock.
I'm telling you.
Lil TJ posted in support of Flock saying, "Free K Flock." But with Dougie snitching on Flock, it affects his release date heavy. In the transcript from the courtroom, we see prosecutors asking Dougie in court, "After you got hit, who called you in the hospital?" Dougie answers, "K Flock called. He said, you know we got you, bro." He follows it up saying, "He was gonna retaliate against whoever hit me." And so the prosecutors confirm his testimony saying, "Flock hit them up in retaliation for you?" Dougie answered yes, and mentioned someone got grazed during the incident. They even got Dougie to admit that Flock had a firearm, and how he was on calls with rival team members who circled their block. This lines up with Oscar Hernandez's passing, with Flock's friend B Love saying,
"Okay, but so I saw some fans who were off at both me and academics after K Flock got locked up because, well, just because I guess, like, you know, in our tone when we talked about it, you know, it might have seemed like we were being a little too presumptuous. But is that weird for you? Because I'm sure you see people all the way from rappers to whoever acting like, you know, your boy is just done and he's cooked in this situation.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, people, especially people that don't even be knowing, like, y'all don't even know what's going on, bro.
Yeah. He said this because the case files explain how the murder went down. On December 23rd, 2021, Kay Flock was charged with the passing of Oscar Hernandez. Flock is seen walking down a sidewalk with his sister. On this day, Flock's wearing a blue coat, shiesty mask, and designer jeans. As he passes a barbershop, his rival gang member Oscar notices him. Instead of letting Flock pass by, Oscar confronted him. As he asked Flock, "What are you looking at?" With them hating each other, they started yelling back and forth. Flock continued walking because he didn't want his sister involved with any street stuff. However, Oscar continued following Flock. We'd even see on camera that Oscar was reaching into his jacket as he followed Flock. So with Oscar not backing off and grabbing in his jacket, Flock turned around and used his firearm at Oscar Hernandez. He hit him multiple times, which left Oscar falling to the sidewalk, and Flock fled the scene. Witnesses dialed 911 to help Oscar. Paramedics arrived and helped Oscar while they transported him to a local New York hospital where he sadly passed away. All that was left at the scene was Oscar's slides he was wearing and shell casings. Immediately, the NYPD secured footage from a store on the street where the crime went down. They had the entire incident on camera, but no way of knowing who the suspect was. With the police department lost, they reached out to the public for help and posted this picture of Flock. Almost immediately, fans of Flock informed the authorities it was him, because just earlier that day he was on IG Live wearing that same blue jacket and shiesty mask. The feds sent out a warrant for his arrest. Luckily for Flock, he used his last few hours as a free man in a good way. He hired one of the best lawyers in the game and they walked into the police station together. His lawyer released a statement right away saying, saying, "I accompanied Kevin as he self-surrendered to detectives in the 30th precinct. Arrangements were immediately made with the NYPD once I learned he was wanted. As to the charges against him, we have begun our investigation into these allegations. We will address bail once we have had a chance to review the case and further investigate the DA's noteworthy disclosure." Right away, Flock's lawyer saw the video evidence and began a self-defense claim.
When the guy hits the ground and is found, he's got a loaded that was in his pocket that his hand was on at the time. We consider that to be self-defense.
So he did take him in self-defense.
That's what the allegation is. I don't want to talk too much about the details of the case,
Okay.
but the government claims that he pulled the. But at the same time, the person that was on the ground had his hand on a illegal loaded.
Okay. So without saying too much, you're arguing obviously self-defense.
That could be one of the arguments, self-defense. And I would say to the public, somebody's walking up to you with a loaded, it's pretty clear is going to use it, with a criminal record a mile long. Do you want to get or do you not want to?
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't hesitate to pull the.
This had Bobby speaking out about Flock's situation in this interview.
What's it like for you watching the K Flock thing happen? That's crazy. Next big artist coming out of New York.
I love Flock, so I like that. That's my guy.
Okay.
But I'm wishing him the best right now. You know what I'm saying? And for the alleged charges they pushing on him, you know what I'm saying, I'm wishing his family the best. I'm wishing the whole team the best and everything. You know what I'm saying? And I hope he beat them alleged charges. You know what I'm saying? Because he got a lot of future brightness. He got, and I hope, you know what I'm saying.
That would be a sad story if that's the end of the.
We ain't gonna think like that, you know what I'm saying?
You gotta stay positive.
However, this crime let the feds inspect every part of Flock's life. Knowing they were pursuing a self-defense claim, the NYPD dug into Flock and stated it was a result of Flock's affiliation with a Third Side Street team. This allowed them to add RICO to his charges. With it reported, K Flock was indicted by a federal grand jury for multiple new racketeering conspiracy charges, also known as RICO charges. Hip-hop creators reacted to the news saying, "K Flock just caught a RICO, it's really over." DJ Academics even said, "Feds just unsealed an indictment on K Flock for a RICO charge. The mandatory minimum if he doesn't beat those charges or snitch is life in prison." He still is facing state charges that have him locked up. Flock's lawyers responded with their reaction to the charges, stating, "We're not surprised by the federal charges, as we've been fighting Kevin's state charges for over a year now. Considering the incident was a clear act of self-defense, it wasn't a strong charge. But the fact it's now being used as a basis for a penalty charge is extraordinary. It's clear on video that Kevin was about to be affected after attempting to walk away from Oscar, which is when Kevin used an item to defend himself and his sister from an armed Oscar who was about to pull out a firearm from his pocket. Surprisingly, his first day of the trial went well, with it reported, "Day 1 of K Flock's trial is over. Instant thoughts are, the prosecutors are not ready. They're stuttering many words, not answering the judge's questions, and not supplying evidence to defend K Flock's lawyer's defense. But it's important to know how all sorts of rappers are being looked at by the feds, because even Lil Baby was just called out by the police."
The investigation aspect of this, Lamont Freeman was allowed to be a 13-year-old for 27 minutes before gang ultimately took his life. Gang violence was orchestrated by adults in our city, and cowardly acts of an Atlanta-based rapper that decided to go over into a rival gang stronghold and shoot a music video in a place that he knew he should not have been. And in the subsequent days, we saw and ultimately the deaths of 2 children as a result of his cowardly actions, and you know who you are. And I tell you that this team will work relentlessly to hold you and the persons that you are affiliated with responsible for those actions.
Even Young and Ace was name-dropped by the Jacksonville sheriff. Are we witnessing a rap takedown by police?
So Young and Ace has long been known in Jacksonville. We are consistently monitoring those groups. We have people that are always watching them. I won't speak to the chief's investigation. That's up to TPD. We don't have an investigation on him right now, but he can't move around in Jacksonville without us knowing about it. And that's for the betterment of our community.
During Flock's first day in trial, they noted that he looked emotional, yet they remained confident he was going to win as they let him speak in this message.
I know what's going on, man. Flock, I know something you. Man, like, please means to the guys, man. Hey, yo, like, I'll be back real soon. Shout out to my fans and my supporters, man. I love all y'all, man. For all of you out there, violence, man. For me, and do what y'all supposed to do, man. Get through life correctly, bro. Like,
Get money.
man. I'll see you real soon.
But at the end of the day, the feds will always find a way to keep these rappers. Just like what Boozy said about YNW Melly's case, the feds will do anything to keep you.
When they want you, they want you. I knew they wanted them bad when they waited for that law to get passed. So it'd be 8-4.
Oh, right, yeah.
You know, they waited all the way till that law got passed to take him to trial.
Yeah, he was in jail for what, 2 years, 3 years?
Yeah, they could have been took you to trial.
You're right.
They waited till that law got passed and took him to trial a couple months later. When they want you, man. Just don't see how he didn't get a bond after a fucking mistrial.
Unfortunately for Flock, news reports believe his sentence will be 20+ years.